no fewer than 2,000 indigenes of Awba Ofemili community in Awka North local government area of Anambra State on Wednesday stormed the government house in Awka and staged a demonstration against what they termed as high-handedness of their traditional ruler, Igwer Ezekwesili Ernest. Now, the demonstrators who arrived at the government house with motorcades at about 1 p.m. with placards with some inscriptions on Soludo's some inscriptions are Soludo's should dethrone Igwer Maduagwuna. We say no to his burning down of houses, illegal sales of our lands, and other illegalities were received in audience by the Chief of Staff to the Governor Soludo Ernest on behalf of the governor. Now, the spokesman of the protesters, Dr. Nice Nnamdi Meko, who tabled their grievances before Ezeguji, alleged that the monarch had for some time now engaged in burning down opposition's houses with reckless abandon, using communities' vigilante operatives. Now, Meko further told him that the monarch forcefully confiscated over 2,000 bags of rice and a good number of live goats belonging to the opposition, grabbed and sold their lands, as well as forcefully planted his stooge as new President General of Awba Ofemili Development Union, ADU, after a recent inclusive town union election. Now, Meko, who demanded that the government should withdraw the chieftaincy certificate of the Igwe, conduct a free and town union election in the area, and disband the Polycarp Ndukife-led vigilante operatives in the area. They lamented over 15 houses were set ablaze, 2,000 bags of rice, scores of goats forcefully confiscated from their owners, and reportedly sold to traders in Onitsha. Now, this is the part. The responding, the Governor Soludo's representative and his Chief of Staff, commended the demonstrators for their peaceful conduct of the exercise and pledged to look into the allegations critically with a view to bringing lasting peace to the community. Now, according to the monarch responded and he said, I, Igwe, can't set somebody's house ablaze. They are a bunch of liars. The protest they carried out is baseless, null and void, and to no effect. Okay, when I saw this story, I was eager to find out what the Igwe's response to these allegations would be. But he has said that this is not something that he did. He has denied the claims by over 2,000, according to reports, community people. You are a traditional ruler. I'd like to get your thoughts on this story.
Well, I'm going to look at it from two angles. First and foremost, I must thank the protesters for registering their anger, and then also to the traditional ruler that is also come to respond to the allegations they have made against him. The onus lies on the state government to set up an investigations panel to look into who is actually saying the truth about the issues. But unfortunately, I have been saying it, and I will still say it here, that once you don't differentiate traditional institutions from politicking, it becomes an issue. Because, like I said it a few days ago, that when you have a royal blood and coronated chiefs, they don't operate the same. What do I mean by that? Politicians bring in their loyalists and install them as traditional rulers to some communities that are not well accepted by the people. Sometimes they are not, they don't have anything to do with the traditional institutions, but because of their relationship with whosoever is in power, they influence the people and they impose on the people. It becomes a problem. And when the real persons emerge as the leader of the community, the grievances should have been to his palace first. The protesters should have gone to his palace and demand the right thing to be done, not to the government house. They have also right to write to the chairman of that state council of traditional rulers, demanding that the chief, the traditional ruler, should do the right thing. But when you see politics play out in the community, this is what you see. Thank God they did not register any death, any casualty at all. But burning down houses, one may think, is there any problem in that community? Or they built on an illegal land that they were not supposed to build, and the town council union have some certain rights to say no, you are not properly allocated a portion of land for you to build in the community. I don't know whether their law permits anybody to burn down houses that was built, whether the court or the government. So there are some stories, there are some clarification we need to.
But you know that they allege that they are opposition houses.
Yes, that is why I'm talking about how comes opposition in the traditional institutions. Are they politicians that they have party A and party B? I think everybody in the community belongs to a particular family, which is that community. And all of them are subject to the traditional rulers. And all of them are subjects.
Opposition might not just be about parties now.
Against its policies.
Yes, it could be. That's opposition.
Maybe it's against its policy. They don't like his policy, and his policy sometimes anti-human. But when they talked about rice, when they said they seized rice, and about 2,000 bags of rice, I imagine how could a traditional ruler have so much power to overcome 2,000 people in a community?
Not 2,000. Are you talking about the whole
protesters?
Community?
The protesters number about 2,000. Okay. And where were they when the traditional ruler, they mentioned only the king using the operative?
Yes, the vigilante.
The vigilante. Did they report this case to the police? What are the report of the police? What are the police saying
the traditional ruler is not that powerful as
traditional rulers are always powerful.
Because he said how powerful could the traditional
rulers are always powerful. Okay, but the people that you govern have supremacy of power above their own leadership, because they can say no to certain policies.
Yes.
They can say no. They have the right to say no, and you have the right to review policies that is not giving the necessary development to a particular community. So, what I may advise, they did not say that they reported this matter to the police. First and foremost, it ought to have been reported to the police. The traditional ruler need to have been invited and interrogated and see that this allegation is genuine. Okay, but going straight to the government house, I see a lot of politics playing out. Going straight to the government house, they don't even make the local government chairman of that place. You know, you have to have procedures of complaints. First and foremost, they have a divisional police officers, they have the area command, they have the local government chairman, they have the traditional chairman of traditional rulers. These are channel of complaint. If these places you have mentioned cannot handle, then you move to government house. Or is it because government house is closer to them? Because I'm just imagining, if somebody want to protest from my own community, coming to government house here in Rivers State, you know how much you will invest into transportation. Okay, before you think of
for them to have walked down there, it looks
maybe
like
it's work that is close by, and they live close to the government house.
But in a situation where they have probably followed all of these measures, they have tried to make the reports you have mentioned, it would not be out of place to go to the governor, right?
It is their right. It is our governor. It is their governor. They have right. The government should have access to the people. They have right to complain, but there should be a channel of complaints. In every organization, you have channel of complaints. Just like you want to bring organizational setting, you don't just go to management without passing through your human resources manager to complain. Okay, you have your departmental head. You don't jump your departmental head and go to the MD. They will still refer you back and also punish you in some cases. So you don't jump procedure, no matter how dangerous, no matter how dangerous it is, how important it is. You ought to have reported first to the police. In their report, I don't see anywhere they mention police.
Okay, some people are saying that probably looking at some of these things that they have mentioned, assuming it happened, because these are just allegations until they are proven. Assuming this happened, could it be that there's too much power invested in the traditional ruler? Do you think that is something that should be looked into?
There's no power in the traditional ruler that should be inhuman. You are governed human being, not good. You don't command people. We have gone by that era. That is why sometimes they say the power of traditional rulers, the constitution did not recognize the role of traditional institutions. Do you know how we behaved back then before the independence? Traditional rulers we are saying as Lord. They give command and you must obey. They banish you from the community.
Is it different from now?
Quite different. You can't just get up and banish me because I don't like your policies. You cannot. And no traditional ruler should think about that. You must follow traditional procedures. You must follow traditional procedures. Not because you don't like my face.
But they're not procedures then?
There wasn't procedure. They are Lord and King. You don't oppose them. Anything they say is fine now. Just like in the days of Pharaoh and thereabout in the Bible. Okay? A king cannot reverse his statement. If you say this house is going down, that is it. But it's not like that these days. You have cabinet, you have to take decisions, you have to review your decisions. Some communities have constitutions. You must abide by the constitution of that community. We don't do this, this is what we are doing. And it's subject to be reviewed. So it is not like that these days. We are in a democratic era. And in the traditional institution, that also applies. We operate with the constitutions. We don't have a separate constitutions. We don't allow our systems. It must go through due process.
You're saying how it should be, but
that is how it is.
Really how it is in every community?
That is how it should be. That is how it is. No king can just get up today, nobody should eat.
So that means you're looking at these allegations like things that are impossible.
It is not impossible. People behave differently based on their perceptions, based on things they think they want to make some corrections. Okay? I don't know, they did not mention how old he is on the throne and how old is the person, the king, how old is the king. Okay? And how many years has he been on that throne? These are things we need to find out. If he has been a king that has been there for, like myself, I've been a traditional ruler for a decade, over 10 years today. I have so many experience. In as much I'm still learning. I have so much experience within the period I have governed. So I see when people want to incite the people against the traditional rulers. I have seen a case where people can incite the mind of the people against you. Politicians can also do that. You are internal opponent, because there is no king that don't have oppositions in the community. Because not all your policy that will be accepted. Yes. There are areas that they will say, no, we don't, why this man is doing like this. And again, they are talking about land. Land grabbers. Traditional rulers as custodians of the community, we own all the lands. Okay? Sometimes there are families that owns land, because how powerful some traditional ruler is. If you go against them, they arrest you and put allegations on your head and torment you. So people can be scared. And this is not what we want as a people. We are all equal. We are all equal. What only was distinguished traditional rulers from other people is because of the seat of power you sit on. And you are there to do justice to your people, to say what is right and govern them properly. Not because they don't like your face. You start seizures of properties, burning of houses. I condemn that act of burning of houses. How will you burn someone's house because it's opposing you? It's completely wrong. It is against our tradition. It's against the ethics in the traditional institutions. No traditional ruler have any right whatsoever without trial.
Talking about taking the lands now, since you have stated that according to the law, the traditional ruler is in charge of the land in the community, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in a situation where he wants to take someone's land now, that's a family land, that's an individual's land. What are there procedures that should be taken, or he can just grab the land like they put it?
The only area that the traditional ruler have right to give land is when there is a project. If government is coming to build hospitals, and some cases you invite the families that own that land and have discussion with them. Like in my own community, we have an agreement that, okay, if they establish anything here, maybe if they're talking about employment, you are the first to be considered, since you have given out your land for such project. You don't just come into people's land because you are a king and you think they will not react. They will react. It is their property, it's their inheritance. Okay? So you dialogue with them, you discuss with them, and that makes you a king. You must interface with your people. If they say this area is not good for such a project, you listen to them, okay, and influence them with dialogue. You follow them with procedures, with a means of discussions, not by force. If you come through force, they take you to court. And I wonder how powerful the man is. And it's also the person that is representing the protester. I think should be a PhD holder or a medical doctor, which means that the community also have people that's enlightened to some extent. You can sue the traditional ruler to court. Don't do this. What you are doing is not good. Okay, they have all those rights.
All right, we'll definitely follow up with this story to find out how it plays out at the end of the day with the investigations that the governor has promised. But let's move on to the Niger Delta now.